Hello there, and welcome to Just Around Earth, where curiosity takes its time and your mind finds a cozy spot to rest. Tonight, we invite you to ponder a question that might linger quietly in the corners of your mind for years, only to suddenly demand your full attention. This question isn't straightforward, nor is it one that everyone would want to dwell on for too long. Yet, it has the power to make you tilt your head and view your life from an entirely new perspective. What if Earth is a test, not just a figure of speech or a clever metaphor, but a genuine test, one that is intentionally designed? Imagine a scenario where someone is observing, where your choices, struggles, and way of living are being recorded, reviewed, and evaluated. Could it be a higher intelligence that crafted this test? Perhaps an ancient power we once referred to as gods? Or maybe it's an alien civilization from a distant realm, so far removed that we remain unaware of their presence. And here's where things get even more intriguing. What if it's us, future humans, reaching back through time or through advanced technology, setting the stage for our own ancestors, and watching how the narrative unfolds? Take a moment to reflect on this idea. What feelings does it stir within you? You may have encountered this feeling before, even if you didn't recognize it. There are moments when life seems almost choreographed, when events align perfectly, when someone enters your life just when you need them, or when circumstances arise that prompt you to reflect deeply. But before we delve too far into these intriguing possibilities, let's take a moment to focus on something simpler. Where are you listening from right now? Does your location feel familiar, or are you in a new place? Is it day or night for you? The world stretches across countless time zones, yet here we are, sharing this moment together. Your now might be illuminated by the bright light of morning, or it might be cloaked in evening shadows and stillness. If you're winding down for the day, perhaps this will serve as a soothing companion. If you're just beginning, maybe it will provide a gentle backdrop as you embark on what lies ahead. If you enjoy this kind of slow exploration and find comfort in this type of conversation, I would appreciate it if you could give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps this small space connect with others seeking a thoughtful way to start or end their day. Now that we've established a gentle pace, let's explore this concept together, taking our time. Reflecting on the idea of Earth as a test isn't about rushing to find answers. It's about observing how your perspective shifts when you hold that question in your mind. Consider the word test. It can evoke different meanings for different people. In a school context, you might picture rows of desks, a test paper filled with boxes, and a clock ticking away, each second feeling more burdensome. Yet in life, a test encompasses much more. It can reveal what you've absorbed without even realizing it. It can showcase how you respond under pressure, or how you act when no one is guiding you. In this thought experiment, envisioning Earth as a test doesn't imply that we're all sitting in a classroom facing the same questions. Instead, it suggests that each individual encounters their own distinct version of this test, crafted in ways they may not even recognize. You might already be contemplating the delicate balance of conditions that make life here possible. Earth sits at just the right distance from the sun, neither too close nor too far, allowing existence as we know it. Imagine a world crafted with the perfect balance of elements, where the atmosphere is just right and protection from radiation is assured. The magnetic field acts as a shield against solar winds that could otherwise strip our planet bare. Picture a stable orbit where seasons unfold predictably, allowing life to plan ahead. When scientists refer to the Goldilocks zone around a star, they describe planets that are ideally suited for life as we know it. But if Earth serves as a test, perhaps these conditions are not mere strokes of luck. They might represent a carefully designed environment meant to explore how life responds when given the perfect foundation. This thought invites deeper reflection. If this is indeed a test, what questions are being posed to us? Are they about survival, our ability to adapt to shifting climates, natural disasters, or the myriad diseases that challenge us? Do these questions concern morality, examining how we treat one another in times of scarcity or abundance? Are they about cooperation, questioning whether we can unite despite our differences in language, culture, and beliefs? Or could they touch on something we haven't yet imagined, a hidden variable that holds the true significance of our existence? You may find yourself wondering if there are signs that we are being observed, and if such signs exist, would we even be able to recognize them? Imagine for a moment that a higher intelligence is observing us, wanting to understand our natural behavior. They wouldn't reveal themselves, choosing instead to remain hidden. Events would unfold without their direct interference, or perhaps their influence would be so subtle that we would mistake it for mere chance. A sudden shift in the weather might bring two strangers together, or a series of small events could steer you away from a particular path one day. It's easy to dismiss these occurrences as coincidences, but what if Earth is actually a grand experiment? Those moments could serve as controlled variables. This notion isn't entirely new. Many ancient cultures and belief systems have suggested that life is a kind of trial. Some teachings propose that our purpose is to adhere to certain moral laws, with our choices determining our fate after death. Others view life as a journey designed to impart lessons that our souls need to learn. The specifics may differ widely, yet the fundamental idea that we exist for a reason beyond mere survival recurs throughout history. In this light, considering Earth as a test isn't about creating a novel concept. It's about re-examining an age-old perspective. For some, this thought brings comfort. If life is indeed a test, then our suffering holds meaning. How does this perspective resonate with you? Would you find solace in the idea that every challenge serves a purpose? Reflect on that for a moment. You might discover a new layer of understanding in your experiences. If you wish to explore further or take a moment to rest with these thoughts, the choice is yours. Struggles often carry a purpose, even if we cannot always discern what it is. This notion can feel unsettling, as it implies we are under constant observation, subject to judgments and unforeseen consequences. Regardless, it transforms how you perceive your daily life. Consider those moments when you show kindness to someone without any reason, the choices you make when no one is watching, or how you react when faced with challenges. If these actions are part of an evaluation, you might begin to notice them in a different light. There's also the intriguing possibility that this assessment isn't focused on individuals, but rather on humanity as a collective. Perhaps it's less about whether you or I succeed personally, and more about whether we, as a species, can achieve significant milestones. Can we develop sustainable ways of living? Can we avoid self-destruction through our own technology? Can we learn to communicate without escalating every disagreement into conflict? If this is the case, then each generation might simply represent another phase of data collection, another group of participants in an ongoing study. It's difficult not to reflect on the major events in history when viewing it this way. The sudden rises and falls of civilizations, the recurring cycles of conflict and peace, the scientific breakthroughs, and the setbacks that inevitably follow all come to mind. Imagine viewing life through a unique lens, one that reveals it as a long-term experiment, unfolding over thousands of years. You may have encountered the phrase trial by fire, and it resonates with how humans challenge themselves. We create obstacles to step beyond our comfort zones. We establish rules and test our ability to adhere to them. We even design games and competitions, often without any real-world purpose, simply to see who can navigate through adversity. Now, consider this. If we engage in self-testing for entertainment or personal growth, could it be possible that some greater force is orchestrating similar trials for us on a grander scale? This notion opens up intriguing possibilities. And while if life is indeed a test, it's likely that we're not solely evaluated on the results we achieve. Instead, our true assessment may lie in the journey itself, how we confront challenges. When faced with difficulties, do you panic, cheat, give up, or do you persist, even when the obstacles are more daunting than you ever anticipated? The manner in which you approach the unknown could be the true measure of your experience. This invites a profound contemplation. Could simply asking, "What if Earth is a test?" be part of the test itself? If you never entertain this thought, perhaps your path is meant to focus on the present moment, embracing life as it unfolds. As you ponder this idea, you might wonder what the next step could be. Let's take a moment to explore this line of thought together. Consider how our planet seems intricately designed for life. The challenges we encounter may not just be random occurrences. Instead, they could be guiding us toward a greater understanding. Stories from history to the present might all converge on a curious possibility. When you sit quietly with the notion that Earth could be a test, the world around you begins to shift. The chair beneath you, the walls that surround you, the sounds in the background, even the air brushing against your skin, all take on a new, almost surreal quality. It's reminiscent of stepping into a room you've visited countless times, only to suddenly notice a detail you've never seen before. The environment hasn't changed. Rather, you have. This realization is what makes the idea so compelling. It's not something that can be definitively proven or disproven. Yet, once you entertain it, everyday life starts to pass through a different lens. Consider your long commute. Has it always been just an annoyance? Or could it be an opportunity to cultivate patience? That unexpected challenge you face, was it merely bad luck, or might it be a part of a deliberate obstacle course designed to help you grow? You begin to notice how the people you encounter, whether at the right moment or the wrong one, seem like pieces on a game board, arranged by an unseen hand. It's intriguing how easily we slip into this mindset, often without even realizing it. We say that everything happens for a reason when events align in ways that feel significant. We weave tales of fate, destiny, and the idea that certain paths are meant to cross. Regardless of whether you believe those phrases literally, they reveal our comfort with the notion that life may hold more meaning than mere chance. If you consider Earth as a test, those moments of synchronicity might just be hints, gentle nudges indicating that there is a deeper structure beneath the surface. Yet, the weight of this inquiry doesn't stem from the idea of being tested. It arises from the implications of such a belief. If life is indeed a test, then there must be a purpose behind its design. This suggests that the conditions we face, the joys, the sorrows, the inexplicable events, and the moments of harmony, are not mere accidents. They are deliberate choices. Every storm, every illness, every technological advance, every stretch of peace, and every conflict could be part of this grand examination. As you reflect on these concepts, consider how they resonate with your experiences. What do you think lies beneath the surface of your own journey? Imagine a moment when your curiosity shifts, becoming something deeper. This isn't about feeling paranoid or fearing unseen watchers. Instead, it invites you to expand your imagination, envisioning our planet as a single interconnected system. Picture it from space. See beyond the continents and oceans. Notice the swirling clouds, the twinkling city lights at night, the ever-changing weather patterns, and the migrations of animals and people. It's a vibrant sphere, alive with billions of individual stories unfolding simultaneously. Each person believes they are navigating their own unique journey. If there is a designer overseeing this grand experiment, they would perceive everything in unison, much like you might observe every unit in a strategy game, moving in real time. This perspective sparks another thought. What could the purpose be? If you were orchestrating this experiment, what insights would you seek? Would you be drawn to the most adaptable, the kindest, or the most intelligent individuals? Or perhaps you would focus on the collective, waiting for them to reach a specific milestone before deciding they have succeeded. The possibilities are endless. You could envision objectives ranging from moral growth to technological advancements, or even some elusive quality that remains unnamed. As you reflect on this, consider what resonates with you. What do you find intriguing about this interconnected web of life? Imagine a world where ancient traditions emphasize morality as the cornerstone of existence. In many belief systems, life is a test of how you treat others. It revolves around compassion, integrity, and adherence to certain rules, especially in challenging times. The rewards for passing this test could lead you to a paradise, a new existence, or perhaps simply help you avoid punishment. Now consider the modern perspective, particularly in scientific exploration. Here, the scope of understanding expands dramatically. If an alien civilization or future humans were to observe us, their focus might not be on individual morality. Instead, they could be interested in survival instincts, problem-solving abilities, creativity, or even our capacity to cooperate globally. What makes this line of thought intriguing is the nature of tests themselves. Often, their true purpose remains hidden until the very end. You might think you are being evaluated on one aspect, only to discover later that the real measurement was on something entirely different. In various training programs, games, and psychological experiments, the stated goals can serve as diversions. The genuine insights emerge from your reactions when you believe the focus is elsewhere. If Earth operates in this manner, it raises a profound question. Are the qualities we prioritize truly the right ones? Perhaps what we consider most important might not align with the deeper metrics of our existence. Imagine a scenario where you ponder whether you, as a participant, are aware that you are being tested. In many situations, this awareness can significantly alter your behavior. When you know there's a grade at stake, you might push yourself harder. Yet there's also the temptation to manipulate the system. Perhaps that's why the observer prefers to remain unseen. Or maybe the very notion of awareness is part of the inquiry. What do you do when you sense that there's more beneath the surface? Do you seek clarity, attempt to reach out to those in control, or simply turn a blind eye? Consider the possibility that this test is multi-layered. On one level, each of you may be assessed individually. How do you navigate personal struggles? How do you treat those around you? Do you persevere when faced with challenges? On a broader scale, humanity itself could be under scrutiny. Are we on a path to self-destruction? Can we learn to coexist sustainably? Will we venture beyond our home planet? If both these dimensions are at play, the experiment becomes intricate, with your individual choices influencing the collective outcome. History provides a wealth of examples for such reflections. Civilizations rise, innovate, and eventually decline. New societies emerge, often repeating past errors, sometimes learning valuable lessons, yet at times they completely forget. Technology is reshaping your world, unveiling possibilities that your ancestors could only dream of, while also introducing dangers they never encountered. You find yourself navigating a landscape where cooperation is often convenient, yet competition lurks around every corner. In this intricate dance, you help shape the future for all. It's a chaotic, unpredictable environment, rich with contradictions, an ideal setting for keen observation. Now consider the unsettling notion. What if this is all a test? It might not be a safe one. Tests can push you to your limits, sometimes with a ticking clock and an unknown endpoint. Some may succeed while others falter. There could be trick questions or distractions that lead to unexpected consequences. If you were unaware that it was a test, fairness would seem elusive. However, perhaps fairness isn't the ultimate goal. Maybe the true aim is to observe how you respond in these challenging circumstances. But it's not all bleak. If this test is designed to gauge your growth, creativity, or problem-solving skills, then every challenge you face becomes an opportunity for success. Each unexpected twist offers a chance to demonstrate your adaptability. The moments that feel like setbacks might just be the ones that contribute most significantly to the ultimate outcome. Embrace the journey, for it holds the potential for transformation. Without understanding the scoring system, uncertainty lingers. This uncertainty is what makes the question so compelling. It urges you to contemplate what truly matters, even when the criteria for evaluation remain unclear. This question transforms your perspective, compelling you to examine the intricate balance of order and chaos. You notice how life tenaciously occupies every nook of our planet, and how humanity relentlessly strives to overcome challenges. You might begin to wonder if this balance holds the key to our existence. Are we meant to find a way to coexist with it, to alter it, or to learn from it? It becomes evident that even the smallest choices can have significant implications. A simple act of kindness toward a stranger, the determination to push through moments of boredom, or a spark of curiosity about the unknown, each of these actions may play a vital role in a larger evaluation of life. The question persists, lingering in the background and reshaping how you perceive patterns, coincidences, and challenges. Once it takes root, it's natural to start reflecting on the very conditions of our planet, the stage on which all of this unfolds. You might find yourself pondering whether Earth itself offers additional insights. If you envision it as a testing ground, your first instinct may be to analyze the environment, to examine the setup, and to explore the stage where this intricate dance of existence plays out. As you begin to explore the wonders of our planet, it becomes strikingly apparent that Earth is remarkably suited for life. It feels as though someone meticulously crafted conditions to ensure a delicate balance, just enough to foster life, yet challenging enough to keep it vibrant. The more you delve into the details, the more they seem intentionally designed. Consider the distance from the sun. If we were too close, the intense heat could strip away our atmosphere, boil our oceans, and render the surface inhospitable. Conversely, if we were too far, we would be trapped in a perpetual freeze, a desolate sphere of ice with only wind and shadows for company. Yet here we are, orbiting in what is often referred to as the Goldilocks zone, where warmth exists without the threat of incineration and sunlight bathes us without the risk of being scorched. Now think about the tilt of our planet's axis, resting at approximately 23.5 degrees. This tilt is not just a minor detail, it gives rise to the seasons we experience. Most regions enjoy a gentle variation, rather than extreme shifts or a complete absence of seasons. These seasonal changes influence agriculture, animal behavior, and the very rhythms of human life. Imagine if the tilt were even slightly greater. Weather patterns could become chaotic and extreme, making the survival of civilization a daunting challenge. Isn't it fascinating to consider how these intricate details weave together to create the tapestry of life we know? Each element appears to be part of a grand design, inviting you to reflect on the delicate balance that sustains us. As you ponder this, take a moment to appreciate the marvels of our world, and feel free to continue this exploration or pause and reflect on the wonders around you. Imagine a world where the climate remains static, a place with less variety and fewer pressures that drive adaptation. This thought invites you to reflect on the significance of seasons. They compel life to adapt, to plan, and to change behaviors. Seasons introduce a predictable yet challenging rhythm to existence. Now consider the moon. Its size is remarkable, especially in relation to Earth, and it orbits at just the right distance. This creates tides that stir the oceans without overwhelming the continents. These tides could have been crucial for the emergence of early life, forming coastal zones where nutrients and conditions constantly shifted, propelling evolution forward. The moon also plays a vital role in stabilizing Earth's rotation, preventing chaotic wobbles that could lead to unpredictable climates. In this grand test of life, stability over the long term, paired with manageable short-term challenges, reveals how life evolves. The moon fulfills both roles beautifully. Now, think about our atmosphere. It is another precisely calibrated feature of our planet. Thick enough to protect us from meteors and harmful radiation, yet thin enough to allow the sunlight we need to thrive. It contains the right balance of gases, mostly nitrogen and oxygen, with just enough carbon dioxide to help regulate temperature without spiraling into a runaway greenhouse effect. As you ponder these elements, consider how they intertwine to create a delicate balance that supports life on Earth. Would you like to explore more about the wonders of our planet? Imagine a world where the delicate balance of our atmosphere is altered. If the air we breathe had a different composition, life as you know it might not exist. High levels of oxygen could ignite uncontrollable fires, while insufficient nitrogen could disrupt the very processes that sustain life. It's as if everything is meticulously calibrated rather than just a product of chance. Consider the Earth's magnetic field, a protective barrier generated by the movement within our molten core. This field deflects harmful solar winds and cosmic radiation, safeguarding our atmosphere from erosion over time. Look at Mars, for instance. It lacks a robust magnetic field, leaving its thin atmosphere vulnerable and unable to shield it from solar radiation. Without this invisible shield, Earth would face greater risks from solar energy bursts that could harm ecosystems and disrupt emerging civilizations. If you were to design a long-term experiment with complex participants, you would aim to provide them with protection against catastrophic interruptions, not complete safety, but enough security to allow the experiment to unfold over billions of years. Water plays a crucial role in this balance as well. It exists in all three states, solid, liquid, and gas, constantly shifting between them. This cycle not only regulates our climate, but also supports diverse ecosystems, creating the various environments necessary for all forms of life to thrive. As you reflect on these intricate systems, you might wonder about the delicate threads that hold life together. Would you like to explore more about this fascinating interplay? Imagine a world where tests lack variety, yielding only narrow results. Now consider Earth with its vast range of environments: deserts, rainforests, tundras, oceans, and mountains. Each of these settings compels life to adapt in countless ways. The result? A biosphere so rich in diversity that no single catastrophe can wipe it all out. This resilience might be just what you want to measure. The planet's geology plays a crucial role too. Plate tectonics shape continents, create mountains, and recycle carbon. They regulate temperatures over geological time and generate fertile soils through volcanic activity. Without these processes, Earth could have stagnated, becoming a lifeless expanse. Instead, we experience a world in a constant state of renewal, where new species can emerge and thrive. From the viewpoint of a test, geological change acts like a reset button in certain areas, allowing for rejuvenation without shutting down the entire system. Even the more dangerous aspects of Earth take on a new meaning when viewed this way. Hurricanes, earthquakes, droughts, and volcanic eruptions bring immense suffering and destruction, yet they also drive adaptation. They push societies to innovate, cooperate, and plan for the long term. As you reflect on this, consider how these challenges shape resilience and growth. Would you embrace the opportunities that arise from adversity? Life, in its many forms, tests resilience both individually and collectively. Imagine a world that is perfectly safe and unchanging. While it might seem comfortable, it wouldn't reveal much about how life responds to pressure. Scientists often discuss the improbability of life emerging in our universe, highlighting the multitude of factors that had to align for this to happen. It's not just a matter of one or two lucky breaks, it's dozens of them. Consider the sun, which is unusually stable for a star of its size. Our solar system is also protected by giant planets like Jupiter, which act as gravitational shields. They deflect comets and asteroids that could otherwise collide with Earth far more frequently. Moreover, the chemical composition of our planet is precisely what is needed for biological processes, down to those trace elements that are rare elsewhere. Some people view this as evidence of fine-tuning, while others interpret it through the lens of the anthropic principle. This principle suggests we can only observe a universe that permits our existence, making it appear perfect to us. But if you delve deeper into this scenario, that fine-tuning serves as a setup for a greater experiment. The conditions begin with a near-perfect foundation, where success is possible but not guaranteed. This allows us to witness what unfolds when life faces unpredictable changes, revealing the true nature of resilience. As you reflect on this, consider the intricate balance of factors that have led to our existence. What does it mean for you to be part of this vast experiment? Consider the delicate balances that govern our world. When conditions shift too far in one direction, the entire system may falter. Ice ages can sequester vast amounts of the planet's water for millennia. Changes in atmospheric composition can drive the climate into extreme and inhospitable conditions. Even significant impacts from space can reset the course of evolution. Yet, despite experiencing at least 5 mass extinction events over the last 500 million years, life has consistently found a way to rebound, often emerging in new and more intricate forms. From this perspective, you might see that the true measure isn't perfection without struggle, but rather the resilience that follows devastation. As you reflect on how life has navigated these cycles, you begin to realize that the test, if there is one, extends beyond mere survival in the short term. It encompasses persistence over epochs so vast that our species can scarcely grasp them. From the earliest microorganisms to the emergence of mammals, Earth has served as a proving ground for endurance, innovation, and adaptation. You are simply part of a long lineage of participants in a process that has unfolded over billions of years. This realization opens up the unsettling possibility that you are not the first intelligent species to engage in this journey. Imagine a world where complexity is woven into the very fabric of Earth. You might start to wonder if intelligence is truly unique to humanity. What if it has existed before, in forms that have left no trace, only to fade away? Perhaps civilizations have crumbled due to self-destruction, environmental catastrophe, or forces beyond their control. If that's the case, your existence could be just the latest chapter in a long saga shaped by countless previous attempts. As you reflect on this, consider how every element of nature, from the moon's steady orbit to the swirling currents of the ocean, seems like a deliberate factor in an ongoing experiment. The question shifts from whether Earth is perfect for life to why it has been designed to allow life to flourish while also presenting constant challenges. This perspective gives weight to the idea of a test. After all, a flawless paradise wouldn't encourage growth, and a harsh wasteland wouldn't permit it. It's this delicate balance, teetering between stability and chaos, that yields the most profound insights. When you step outside and take a moment to observe, the world reveals itself in new ways. Consider the trees, for instance, as they draw in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Each detail resonates with an underlying purpose, inviting you to explore the wonders of existence. Consider how pollinators sustain entire ecosystems. Think about how weather shifts just enough to keep you on your toes. It all begins to feel less like mere background noise and more like a meticulously crafted environment designed to see how you will respond. If the stage is set with such care, it leads to an important question. Is the script of challenges and opportunities within this setting as intentional as the conditions themselves? If our planet has been arranged with such precision, it seems unlikely that the events unfolding here are purely random. When you view the Earth as a stage prepared for something significant, it becomes clear that life doesn't unfold without a set of rules. You might not recall agreeing to these rules, and you may not fully grasp them, but they exist, influencing your every action from the moment you arrive until the moment you depart. Some of these rules are evident, etched into the laws of physics and biology. Others are more subtle, invisible boundaries that reveal themselves only when you encounter them. If Earth truly serves as a test, these rules could be the hidden instructions, the fine print of the exam, information you might only discover after it's too late. Take a moment to reflect on this. What might these rules mean for you, and how do they shape your journey? Time is an unyielding force, always moving forward. No matter your actions, you cannot slow it down, pause it, or rewind it. You can't revisit a moment to make it right, nor can you leap ahead to glimpse the outcome of your choices. Each decision you make locks in the past and reshapes the future. In a test, this principle stands out as one of the most profound. When the outcome is uncertain, you must base your choices on the information available now, knowing you will have to face the consequences. This reality reveals much about your character, judgment, and adaptability. Consider the physical vulnerability we all share. Our bodies require food, water, and rest. They are susceptible to injury and illness and inevitably wear down over time. None of us can escape this fundamental limitation. In a way, it equalizes us all. Regardless of our starting points, we share the same essential needs. In a testing situation, this means survival is never guaranteed. It must be earned, day after day, by fulfilling those needs, regardless of the challenges you face. Pain, whether physical or emotional, might be another inherent rule of life. It serves as a signal that something is amiss, but it also acts as a teacher. Pain alters behavior, encouraging you to avoid certain actions and motivating you to seek solutions. How do you respond to these challenges? Consider the lessons they bring as they shape your journey. Imagine a moment when you witness someone enduring pain and you feel a deep connection because you understand their suffering. In a carefully crafted environment, pain becomes a vital tool. It offers immediate feedback about poor choices or hazardous situations. This constant stream of information reveals how you respond to challenges, whether you choose to evade them, confront them, or use them as motivation to assist others. Loss is another universal theme that permeates our lives. Nothing and no one remains forever. People, possessions, and opportunities can vanish, often without a moment's notice. In an experimental setting, this might be a deliberate choice designed to observe how individuals cope with unavoidable change. Do you cling to what has disappeared, adapt to what remains, or create something entirely new? In daily life, loss feels deeply personal, yet when viewed from a broader perspective, it emerges as one of the most enlightening experiences. Alongside these universal truths, there are societal rules that shape our existence. Unlike natural laws, these are crafted by people. However, their impact is just as significant. Legal systems, cultural customs, and unspoken norms dictate what is deemed acceptable, what is celebrated, and what is condemned. Their variability across different regions adds another layer of intrigue, especially when considering how they influence our shared experiences. Take a moment to reflect on these ideas. How do they resonate with your own experiences? Imagine growing up in a world where what is celebrated in one culture may be frowned upon in another. This contrast can reveal how individuals navigate complex systems and whether they challenge the norms set before them. Consider the rules that seem intentionally crafted to create tension. Resources are often scarce. There isn't enough for everyone to have all they desire. This scarcity compels you to make choices. Will you share, or will you prioritize your own needs? And when beaver is poor, there everyone time outsee. Do you choose to compete against others or work together? Will you hoard out of fear, or will you trust that what you need will come to you? In a cooperative scenario, scarcity puts your teamwork to the test. In a competitive one, it challenges your strategy. Yet, we exist in a blend of cooperation and competition every day. Not all rules impose restrictions. Some present opportunities, but these come with their own hidden constraints. You can learn new skills, forge connections, and create something entirely new. You may even consider moving to a different location, changing your career, or starting fresh if you're willing to embrace the risks involved. However, every opportunity carries a cost, be it time, energy, or resources. And remember, the rule of time moving forward means you can't seize every opportunity that crosses your path. As you reflect on these dynamics, consider how they shape your choices and experiences. What opportunities will you embrace, and what will you let go? You find yourself at a crossroads, faced with choices that test your resolve. The rules governing these decisions can be elusive, revealing themselves only through experience. Some lessons come quickly, while others may remain hidden for years, even decades. You might think you've uncovered a clever loophole, only to realize later that it was just another layer of the challenge. Consider how situations that seem like easy wins can lead to unexpected consequences. Even what we label as luck, whether fortunate or unfortunate, plays a role in this intricate framework. Randomness serves as a powerful tool, preventing anyone from settling into a false sense of security. If you could predict when and how obstacles would arise, you would be able to prepare meticulously. However, when chance intervenes, you must adapt in the moment. It is during these unpredictable times when plans unravel and surprises occur, that you gain the clearest insight into your responses. Reflect on this. The rules are not universal. Life's starting points differ dramatically. Some begin with the advantages of wealth, health, and security, while others face the harsh realities of poverty, illness, or danger. From one perspective, this disparity seems unjust. Yet from another angle, it provides a means to assess a variety of experiences and challenges. As you navigate these complexities, consider how they shape you. What lessons will you take from your journey? How do you react when you find yourself with an advantage? What about when you start from a disadvantage? Do these initial conditions shape the outcome, or can your determination, intelligence, and the support of others alter the result? When you reflect on this, you might realize that the diversity of human experience isn't a flaw, it's the essence of life. The differences in starting points, environments, and challenges create a spectrum of possible responses during a test. This variation is precisely what you would want if your goal is to gather insights into how intelligent and adaptable beings navigate life. Yet, in spite of this understanding, there is no rule book, there's no checklist, no official guide that tells you which actions will lead to a better score. Instead, you find yourself guessing, experimenting, and learning along the way. This uncertainty can be frustrating, but it also makes the journey enlightening. If you knew exactly what was being measured, you might adjust your behavior to fit those criteria. Without that clarity, your actions reveal your true priorities, not just the ones that might earn you points. In this sense, the unwritten rules we navigate are less like rigid laws and more like the underlying physics of the game we're all playing. You find yourself navigating the boundaries that define what is possible. These limits shape the conditions of your existence. While changing them may not be an option, learning to operate within them reveals something profound about you. Perhaps the very act of understanding these rules is part of your journey. Some individuals glide through life without ever contemplating these constraints. Others dedicate years to unraveling the system, searching for patterns, and testing the limits to see where they bend. In a world that evaluates adaptability, both paths offer valuable insights. As you reflect on this, you may notice how these invisible agreements become increasingly apparent. They influence the way societies establish hierarchies, how nature transitions through cycles of growth and decay, and how every living being must expend energy to gain it. These principles are intricately woven into the fabric of our world, often going unquestioned. When you do pause to examine them, you might discover that answers are rarely straightforward. Perhaps this ambiguity is intentional. The true challenge may not lie in adhering to the rules flawlessly, but in your response upon grasping them, or realizing that complete understanding may elude you. It is in these moments that significant choices arise. You must decide whether to accept things as they are, strive to change them, or find innovative ways to navigate through the uncharted. When you consider it from this perspective, rules transform from a prison into a framework. They don't dictate your every move. Instead, they outline the space in which you can explore. Within that space, the true narrative unfolds. This suggests that if Earth serves as a test, the next place to seek answers isn't solely in the structure of our surroundings or the limitations we face. It lies in the stories we've shared about our existence, stories that have persisted since we first began to communicate. If you delve into the earliest concepts of our purpose, you won't discover equations or scientific notes. Instead, you'll find tales passed down through generations, long before the advent of writing. These narratives were etched into stone, depicted on cave walls, spoken around fires, and whispered in sacred places. This was all happening before anyone had the means to measure the distance to the sun or chart the depths of the ocean. People were already striving to make sense of life using the narratives that resonated with them. Repeatedly, across various cultures and eras, a common theme emerges. Life is a kind of trial. Sometimes it's framed as a straightforward moral test. Take ancient Egypt, for instance. One of their most iconic mythological images is the weighing of the heart. After death, the heart of the deceased would be placed on a scale opposite the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and order. Isn't it intriguing how these ancient beliefs reflect our ongoing quest for understanding? As you ponder this, consider how these stories shape your view of life and its challenges. Would you like to continue exploring this theme, or perhaps take a moment to reflect? Imagine a world where your heart is weighed against a feather. If your heart is lighter, you gain entry into the afterlife. But if it's heavier, it faces devouring consequences, marking the end of your existence. This powerful image conveys a profound truth. Your actions in life shape what follows after. It's more than just a tale. It's a belief system that evaluates and judges each individual. In ancient Greece, philosophers viewed life as a testing ground for the soul. Plato, for instance, explored the idea of the immortal soul being refined through earthly experiences. He suggested that our time here is an imperfect journey designed to challenge our minds and spirits, preparing us for what lies beyond. Virtue, in this context, embodies qualities like courage, temperance, and justice. These aren't just given traits, they are attributes you must develop through conscious effort. Across the globe, ancient China echoed similar sentiments. Confucianism portrayed life as a continual journey of self-cultivation. In this framework, your behavior within your family, community, and governance transcends mere practicality. It becomes a reflection of your moral character, a testament to whether you fulfill your role in a harmonious society. As you reflect on these ideas, consider how they resonate with your own journey. Are you cultivating the virtues that will guide you through life? This exploration invites you to delve deeper into your own beliefs and actions. Take a moment to ponder. Would you like to continue this journey of reflection, or perhaps take a pause? The essence of this exploration isn't solely about an afterlife. Instead, it revolves around demonstrating your worth through the balance you maintain and the duties you fulfill. Various indigenous traditions across the Americas, Africa, and Oceania often convey their teachings through the lens of journeys, trials, and lessons learned. Consider the Native American perspective, where life unfolds as a path filled with obstacles designed to impart wisdom. In many African cultures, hardships are seen as vital experiences, preparing the spirit for its eventual place among the ancestors. Similarly, in Polynesian societies, challenges faced at sea and on land are intricately linked to spiritual growth. Here, endurance, skill, and respect for the natural world serve as measures of a person's readiness to unite with the ancestors or the gods. Religions grounded in written scripture take this idea a step further, clearly framing life as a test. In Islam, the Quran frequently describes life as a trial from God, where rewards and consequences hinge on faith and actions. Christianity presents a similar notion, with the belief in judgment at life's end, determining salvation or damnation based on one's deeds and beliefs. In Hinduism, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara, is often depicted as a series of lessons, with karma acting as both the record and the mechanism of this test. As you reflect on these perspectives, consider how they resonate with your own beliefs and experiences. What lessons have you encountered on your journey? Isn't it intriguing how certain ideas endure across diverse cultures and eras? The details may differ: who administers the test, what is evaluated, and what rewards or consequences are involved, but the essence remains unchanged. Life is not random. It is a process filled with stakes. Your actions truly matter, and there is a sense that something or someone is keeping track. This commonality can be interpreted in various ways. Perhaps it suggests that different civilizations sense the same fundamental truth, each articulating it in their own unique way. Or maybe it simply reflects how human minds inherently seek meaning. A test provides a straightforward framework to grasp. Consider a more strategic perspective. If you were to design an environment like this, incorporating the concept of trials into the culture might effectively guide behavior without overt interference. The belief that your actions are observed and judged, even if the observer is unseen, can serve as a powerful motivator. You might notice how these ancient systems often intertwine reward with fear, concepts like paradise, enlightenment, and unity with the divine present, alluring outcomes. In contrast, the threats of eternal punishment, exile, or reincarnation into a less favorable existence loom large. As you reflect on this, what resonates with you? Imagine a world where constant surveillance and modern law enforcement are absent. In such a setting, certain beliefs act as an unseen framework to uphold order. If life on Earth is indeed a test, perhaps these belief systems are not mere human inventions, but tools that contribute to a larger design. Consider how many ancient tests encompass both individual and communal elements. It's not solely about your actions in isolation, it's also about your role within a group. Many traditions highlight that selfishness or causing harm to your community can lead to swift failure in this test. In contrast, values like cooperation, generosity, and fulfilling your responsibilities often pave the way to success. If you were tasked with assessing whether a species could collaborate on a grand scale, these are precisely the values you would want to nurture from the start. Yet, these ancient ideas also provoke questions. If life is indeed a test, why do the rules seem to shift based on your birthplace or the era in which you live? One culture may emphasize faith in a specific deity, while another prioritizes living in harmony with nature, and yet another highlights the mastery of particular virtues. If this were a carefully controlled experiment, one might argue that this diversity is an intentional part of the design. What do you think about this complexity? It invites us to reflect on our own beliefs and the systems that shape our understanding of the world. Imagine a scenario where different groups receive distinct instructions. You observe how they evolve, how they interact when they meet, and whether they can bridge their differences. This observation opens up another intriguing possibility. Perhaps the essence of the test lies not in the rules themselves, but in our responses when those rules clash. History is rich with instances where diverse cultures, each confident in their own understanding of the right path, have intersected. Sometimes these encounters fostered exchange and cooperation. At other times, they resulted in conquest and destruction. From a testing perspective, both outcomes offer valuable insights. As you reflect on the depth of these ancient beliefs, you begin to understand that they have shaped not only individual behavior, but also the entire trajectory of civilizations. These beliefs have influenced laws, inspired art, guided exploration, and even justified wars. If they serve as part of a larger test, their significance is far beyond mere symbolism. They act as a central mechanism steering the human experience. Even today, Long after many of these ancient cultures have diminished, their fundamental ideas persist. The belief that life holds a purpose beyond mere survival continues to resonate in secular philosophies, self-help movements, and the conversations we have about personal growth. What does this enduring legacy mean for you? You may not refer to it as a trial anymore, but the notion that you are here to learn, improve, or prove something is difficult to dismiss. Perhaps this persistence is the clearest indication of all. Across millennia, in countless languages and diverse human societies, you keep returning to the same question. What is this for? The answers have often been cloaked in myth, ritual, philosophy, and faith. Yet, the question itself remains, suggesting it might be an intrinsic part of being human. Or perhaps it signifies a question you are meant to keep exploring, one of the fundamental prompts still awaiting your understanding. This naturally leads you to ponder, if there is someone or something observing, how might their perspective differ? How would they perceive you, not as you see yourself, but as a species navigating this long, unpredictable journey? If the concept of life as a test has accompanied humanity throughout the ages, the next logical step is to consider who, if anyone, is administering it. Here, your thoughts transition from the symbolic to the literal. Ancient traditions attributed names and forms to those they believed were watching gods, spirits, ancestors, celestial judges. What do you think they might see in you? You might picture them as humans, animals, or even as forces of nature. Yet, if you peel back the layers of these images, a fundamental question emerges. Is there truly someone out there watching our every move? If so, they are exceptionally discreet. They haven't chosen to reveal themselves on the White House lawn or in the midst of a bustling stadium. There's no clear message delivered in multiple languages outlining their intentions or rules. If they are observing, they do so in a way that keeps us in the dark, and perhaps that is by design. Consider this: in any experiment, when subjects are aware of what is being observed, their behavior shifts. This principle holds true in psychology labs, classrooms, and even during job interviews. If Earth serves as a test, then concealing the observers might be the only method to obtain genuine, unfiltered responses. You may envision a variety of possibilities regarding who these watchers could be. The most ancient and familiar concept is that of the divine, be it a singular creator or a collective of creators whose power transcends our understanding. In this perspective, everything around you is their handiwork, and every moment of your existence is known to them. For those who hold this belief, the idea of being observed may not feel unsettling at all. It's comforting to consider that there is a purpose behind everything, even if it remains a mystery. Every action, whether good or bad, doesn't go unnoticed. Now think about the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Imagine, somewhere in the vastness of the universe, there exists a civilization so advanced that our entire planet is merely one of countless experiments they observe. To them, Earth could resemble a controlled environment, akin to a nature reserve or an extensive field study. From their perspective, we might not be much different from wildlife researchers tagging animals to track their movements. The distinction lies in the fact that our tags might be invisible, woven into the very fabric of our reality. Now, consider the idea that these observers could even be future humans. If time travel or advanced simulation technology were to become a reality, it's entirely possible that our descendants might look back on this era and choose to recreate it, not as entertainment, but as a form of study. In this scenario, we could be living within a reconstruction of Earth's past, where every detail is meticulously crafted from historical records, and every individual is simulated with enough complexity to act as if they are real. The observers might be slipping in and out of our reality without us ever knowing, adjusting variables and watching how we respond. What do you think about that possibility? It opens up a world of wonder, doesn't it? If you'd like to continue reflecting on these thoughts, or if you prefer to take a moment to rest, that choice is entirely yours. This idea leads you to consider what is often referred to as the simulation hypothesis. Imagine that your entire world could be an intricately designed computer-generated environment, controlled by an intelligence beyond your comprehension. If this is true, then the observers are not merely passive spectators. They hold the reins of this reality. They dictate everything, from the fundamental laws of physics to the unfolding of historical events. Whether these entities are seen as scientists, engineers, or perhaps even storytellers depends on their intentions. But who are they, if they exist at all? Their level of visibility is a choice they must make, and this is where things become intricate. Throughout history, there have been countless instances where individuals report experiences that defy the ordinary. You might think of mysterious lights in the sky, encounters with otherworldly beings, or sudden bursts of insight that seem to arrive from nowhere. For some, these moments are mere coincidences or misunderstandings, while for others, they serve as clues that the observers are indeed present, albeit discreetly. The challenge with these clues is that they are subject to interpretation. What may be perceived as a miracle by one person can easily be dismissed as an optical illusion by another. How do you navigate these differing perspectives? A mysterious sound could signal a technical glitch, or perhaps a deliberate message. If the watchers are indeed real and thrive on ambiguity, this method is ideal. They can appear just infrequently and peculiarly enough to ignite curiosity, yet not so often that they dispel doubt. This leaves believers seeing evidence and skeptics finding explanations, allowing both groups to act according to their instincts. It invites you to ponder what they might be observing. If they possess a divine nature, perhaps their focus is on moral and spiritual growth. Are we learning to live with compassion? Are we resisting the urge to harm others for our own benefit? On the other hand, if they are extraterrestrial, their interests could lean towards scientific exploration. They might be testing how an intelligent species develops technology, governance, and social structures in isolation. Alternatively, if they are future humans, they could be keen to understand pivotal moments in history, the choices that led to either survival or disaster. Consider the scale of their observation as well. Imagine a scenario where every action is recorded, every thought somehow noted, as if your life exists as a complete file within a vast archive. This notion may spark intrigue, prompting you to reflect on your own journey and the choices you make. Would you like to continue exploring these ideas, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Some believe that the emphasis may lie more on trends than on individual actions. Imagine observing how groups form and dissolve, how cultures evolve, and how technology shifts the balance between cooperation and conflict. In this light, these observers resemble ecologists studying a forest, noting the delicate balance between species, the cycles of growth and decline, and the subtle changes that occur over time. If they exist, their methods might surpass our wildest imaginings. They could influence events on a global scale without leaving any trace, gently guiding entire civilizations in one direction or another. Alternatively, their interventions might be minute, like placing a single stone in a river to observe how the current shifts. From our vantage point, both forms of action could remain invisible, concealed within the noise of history. It's also possible that we have misinterpreted their absence as a sign of non-existence. Just because we haven't noticed them doesn't mean they aren't present. We inhabit a world teeming with signals and forces that elude our perception without the right tools. Consider radiation, magnetic fields, or the vast network of radio transmissions swirling around us every second. An observer equipped with technology beyond our understanding could be right beside us, completely unnoticed. Have you ever considered whether others care about your outcomes in the same way you do? When you're the one being tested, it's easy to believe that the results matter deeply. However, to the observers, your experience might be just one of many. You could be part of a vast array of projects, each holding equal weight. This realization doesn't have to render your life meaningless, but it does shift your perspective. Imagine a scenario where your successes and failures are merely data points in a much larger study. It's intriguing, yet it might feel like you're not at the center of the universe. The unsettling part isn't just the idea of being watched, it's the uncertainty of their intentions. Are they cheering you on? Do they feel indifferent, simply collecting information? Or are they testing you for reasons that remain hidden? Without clarity on their motives, you're left with speculation. This uncertainty can lead you to perceive patterns in areas you might typically overlook. It's not only in ancient myths, it's also in the way history unfolds, where events seem to resonate with one another. Certain moments might feel orchestrated, as if designed to gauge your reactions. When you envision these moments as opportunities where the watchers are leaning in, taking notes, it sparks curiosity about what comes next. What will they learn from you? What will you discover about yourself in the process? As you ponder these questions, you engage with a deeper understanding of your own journey. Imagine a presence observing you, one that witnesses everything from the rise and fall of empires to the simple kindness shown to a stranger. This perspective suggests that your life, no matter how small it may seem against the vastness of the universe, could be more visible than you ever thought possible. This brings us to a compelling question. How has the environment changed? Once, small groups of humans scattered across continents lived in isolation. Now, we inhabit interconnected civilizations, able to share ideas, cultures, and conflicts in an instant. If this is indeed a test, then the setting is not fixed. It evolves, just like the challenges you face. Picture the watchers, whoever they might be, gazing down at Earth through the ages. What they observe is not a static experiment, but a dynamic classroom that constantly rearranges itself. The students, the lessons, and the tools all change, yet the process of learning remains constant. Civilization, in this context, is not merely a backdrop for the test, it serves as a crucial instrument in the assessment. It shapes the questions you encounter, the problems you must resolve, and the ways in which you engage with others. It's easy to think of civilization as a mere occurrence in history, but consider its role in your own journey. Imagine a gradual journey from small farming communities to expansive, interconnected societies. If you view this evolution as a kind of trial, it shifts your perspective. Small, scattered groups confront specific challenges that test individual skills, survival instincts, and the ability to collaborate in tight-knit circles. As these groups merge into villages, then towns, and eventually cities, they encounter entirely new challenges. Scarcity becomes a larger issue, conflicts arise between strangers, and the need for shared rules emerges, rules that extend beyond familial bonds or personal reputations. Consider a classroom where the complexity of assignments increases as students advance. In this analogy, Civilization itself represents that growing complexity. As societies expand, so too do the intricacies of the problems they face. You move from simply securing enough food for your family to figuring out how to nourish millions. Instead of resolving disputes with your neighbor face to face, you find yourself navigating legal systems, political structures, and cultural norms. Rather than defending against a single threat, you must balance diplomacy, trade, and the prevention of global conflicts. If there are watchers observing us, they likely wouldn't need to intervene in every detail of our lives. They would witness how we adapt and evolve, learning to tackle challenges that grow ever more complex. Reflect on this journey. How do you see the evolution of society shaping your own experiences? Imagine for a moment the vast tapestry of civilization unfolding before you. It's a constant evolution where you witness how humanity adapts to its myriad pressures. These pressures are ever present, shaping your experiences and interactions. Consider cities where millions converge in close quarters. They challenge your patience and cooperation, pushing you to navigate the complexities of shared spaces. Trade introduces its own set of dilemmas, tempting you with the allure of greed while simultaneously offering opportunities for mutual benefit. Technology stands as a powerful force in this landscape, equipping you with tools that can either solve monumental problems or create even greater challenges. When you take a step back and reflect, it's clear that civilization presents a never-ending group project. Even if you choose solitude in the wilderness, you remain intertwined with decisions made far beyond your immediate surroundings. The movement of goods, the ripple effects of industry, and the laws that shape borders and trade all influence your life in ways you can't fully control. This interconnectedness is a hallmark of a thoughtfully designed test. Your reactions to the actions of others reveal much about your adaptability, resourcefulness, and the values you hold dear. What's particularly fascinating is that civilization doesn't merely assess individuals, it evaluates the very systems we create. Governments, economies, religions, educational institutions, and health systems are all attempts to organize human life on a grand scale. As you ponder this intricate web of connections and challenges, consider how these reflections resonate with your own experiences. Would you like to continue exploring these ideas, or perhaps take a moment to rest and reflect? Some societies thrive for a time, only to falter under their own complexity. Others manage to adapt and endure for centuries. Each civilization serves as a trial run for various ideas. Can a society truly function when everyone is equal under the law? What occurs when power is concentrated in the hands of a few? How does the advent of new technology alter the delicate balance between cooperation and competition? From the perspective of observers, these systems might represent the true subjects of study. While individuals live and die within mere decades, civilizations can persist for hundreds or even thousands of years. Watching their rise and fall may uncover patterns about how intelligent beings organize themselves, what enables their prosperity, and what leads to their decline. If the ultimate goal is to determine whether a species can achieve large-scale cooperation without self-destruction, then civilization is the stage where this challenge unfolds. However, it's not solely about cooperation. Civilizations also give birth to art, philosophy, science, and culture, all of which might factor into this evaluation. How does a species express itself when it is secure enough to do more than merely survive? What ideas do they hold dear, and how do they pass them on? Do they use knowledge to enhance the lives of all, or to gain advantages for a select few? These questions naturally arise from the essence of civilization, emerging without the need for observers to pose them directly. You might find it easy to believe that if a test exists, it revolves around discovering a singular, correct way to govern a civilization. However, history tells a different story. The range of social structures we've experimented with is vast, from nomadic hunter-gatherer groups to vast empires, and from rigid hierarchies to bold attempts at direct democracy. Each system has its strengths and weaknesses. They each yield varying outcomes in terms of stability, fairness, and innovation. If there are observers learning from us, they aren't merely judging our successes and failures. Instead, they are cataloging the spectrum of what is possible. This becomes evident when you notice how similar challenges recur across different eras and locations. While the specifics may shift, such as the tools we use, the means of transportation, or our methods of communication, the fundamental problems remain unchanged. How can you prevent power from corrupting those who wield it? How do you find a balance between individual freedom and the collective needs of society? What do you do when scarcity turns neighbors into rivals? These persistent themes could be seen as more than mere coincidences. They might represent essential questions embedded within this test, reappearing in various forms so that they can never be solved once and for all. One of the most telling aspects of civilization is its ability to adapt to change. Some societies embrace new ideas and technologies with open arms, while others hold back until they are compelled to change. Transformation can arise from within, as reform movements challenge outdated systems, or from external influences when cultures intersect and evolve together. In both scenarios, we see a reflection of the values that truly matter to a society and how much it is willing to risk in order to uphold or discard them. Conflict is another aspect to consider. Civilization doesn't eliminate conflict. In fact, it often intensifies it. With increased populations, resources, and complexities, the potential for disagreement grows. This dynamic serves as a deliberate pressure point for examination. How do large groups handle disputes? Do they seek peaceful resolutions, or do tensions escalate into violence? Do they establish institutions aimed at preventing war? And if they do, are those institutions sustainable? The answers to these questions reveal much about a species' readiness to face challenges beyond its own planet. Yet civilization is not solely defined by struggle. It also fosters cooperation on a scale that would be unimaginable without it. Think about the collective endeavor to map the human genome, the collaboration behind the International Space Station, or the creation of global communication networks. These achievements highlight the extraordinary potential of humanity when we come together. As you contemplate these ideas, consider what values you hold dear and how they shape your understanding of progress and cooperation in our world. Imagine achievements that emerge from the coordination of millions of individuals spanning diverse cultures and continents. These accomplishments serve as a testament to the potential for large-scale collaboration, especially in specific contexts. If the Watchers seek evidence of our ability to unite, these instances may be among the most hopeful indicators. Yet, it's crucial to remember that success in one area does not ensure it in another. A civilization may excel in groundbreaking scientific advancements while still struggling to meet the basic needs of its citizens. It can achieve remarkable engineering feats, yet overlook the health of its environment. These contradictions may hold some of the most significant insights. They reveal the limits of our priorities and the trade-offs we are willing to make. When you take a step back, you might view civilization as a long-term stress test. Each generation inherits the systems crafted by those who came before, striving to improve them while either fortifying or undermining their foundations. Sometimes, These changes are intentional, but often they arise from accidents, discoveries, or unforeseen disasters. Regardless of their origin, the results contribute to a continuous reshaping of the human experience. From the watcher's viewpoint, this slow evolution could very well be the essence of our journey. You find yourself contemplating not the pursuit of stability for its own sake, but rather the ability to navigate through instability. It's about maintaining your capacity to cooperate and create, even when faced with challenges. This thought takes on a deeper significance in today's world, where civilizations are more interconnected than ever before. A decision made in one corner of the globe can ripple out, impacting lives across continents in mere hours. Technology has transformed the way ideas, goods, and conflicts traverse borders. This interconnectedness might be the latest chapter in a long-standing test, one that examines our ability to manage global interdependence without succumbing to our own complexities. In this light, civilization is not merely the backdrop for this test. It is the test itself, evolving in real time. If there are watchers observing our progress, they may not need to alter the rules every few centuries. Instead, their role could be to allow us the freedom to change ourselves and witness the outcomes. History has shown that these outcomes can be both inspiring and destructive, often at the same time. This complexity leads us to a deeper layer of inquiry. If this classroom of existence is meant to teach and measure, then some lessons are undeniably more severe than others. Some experiences are beautiful, filled with cooperation and creativity. Others can be harsh, pushing you to your limits in ways that feel less like education and more like punishment. As you reflect on this, consider what lessons you might take away from your own experiences. Are they shaping you in ways that foster growth and understanding? Or do they challenge you in ways that feel overwhelming? The journey continues, inviting you to explore further, or perhaps take a moment to pause and reflect. Imagine Earth as a vast classroom, where each moment of struggle serves as a vital question in the exam of existence. In this classroom, suffering emerges as a constant, unavoidable lesson. No matter where you are in the world, regardless of the systems surrounding you or the progress humanity claims to achieve, suffering finds a way to manifest. It is unpredictable and unevenly distributed, and no one willingly seeks it out. Yet it is intricately woven into the very fabric of human life, so much so that envisioning a life devoid of it seems impossible. If life is indeed a test, then suffering might represent one of its most crucial inquiries. While the more apparent forms of suffering, illness, injury, hunger, and loss of shelter, are easily recognized, the subtler forms often go unnoticed. Loneliness, fear, guilt, uncertainty, and regret can seep into our lives quietly, eroding hope when solutions seem out of reach. These emotional pains may not leave visible scars, but they shape our lives as profoundly as any physical wounds. Consider these various forms of suffering as distinct modules in a complex test. Each one offers its own challenges and insights, inviting you to explore the depths of your experience. How do you navigate through these trials? What lessons can you uncover? As you reflect on these questions, remember that every struggle contributes to the larger narrative of your existence. Embrace this journey and allow it to guide you toward deeper understanding. Imagine a world where every challenge is designed to measure qualities like resilience, empathy, and adaptability. Perhaps there are even aspects of this experience that we have yet to name. It's a disconcerting thought, isn't it? If this environment is intentionally crafted, then suffering could be a choice rather than a mere accident. Many of us instinctively view suffering as something to eradicate. In fields like medicine, technology, and politics, significant efforts are dedicated to alleviating pain and hardship. However, in a framework of testing, completely removing suffering might counteract the very purpose of the exercise. Think about it. How meaningful would a math exam be if there were no problems to solve? If the aim is to understand our responses, then challenges must persist. There are recurring patterns in suffering that suggest a level of deliberateness. It often strikes unexpectedly, compelling us to adapt swiftly. Interestingly, it doesn't always correlate with a person's actions. Good individuals sometimes endure immense hardship, while those who inflict pain may seem unscathed. This disparity feels deeply unfair on a human level. Yet, if viewed through the lens of testing, it might be a deliberate choice, an opportunity to observe how we react when reality diverges from our sense of justice. Do we become resentful? Do we strive harder to foster fairness for others? Or do we lose faith in the notion of purpose altogether? Suffering has a unique way of presenting crossroads in our lives, urging us to reflect on our paths and choices. A crisis can tear someone apart, yet it also has the power to reveal strengths they never knew existed. It can transform strangers into allies, alter the course of a life, or ignite a movement that resonates with thousands, even millions. To an observer, these moments may appear as pivotal turning points, worthy of deep examination. One event might plunge one person into despair, while lifting another toward transformation. This contrast might reveal more about human nature than any simple success ever could. When you reflect on history, you can see entire eras shaped by collective suffering, wars, famines, pandemics, and natural disasters. Such events disrupt the fabric of civilization, compelling societies to either adapt or face collapse. Sometimes, the aftermath brings about remarkable advancements in technology, medicine, or governance. Other times, it leads to prolonged periods of stagnation or decline. From a broader perspective, both outcomes offer valuable insights. They reveal whether a community can transform hardship into growth, or if it crumbles under pressure. One of the hardest truths to accept is how frequently suffering stems from the actions of others. Violence, exploitation, and neglect are not the results of an indifferent universe. They arise from human choices. As you contemplate this reality, consider what it means for our shared existence. It invites reflection on your role in the world and the impact you can have. Would you like to continue exploring these themes, or perhaps take a moment to pause and reflect? Imagine Earth as a test, one that holds profound significance. It challenges you to consider how you treat others when faced with the choice to inflict harm or extend kindness. Each act of cruelty and every gesture of compassion contributes to your journey. This contrast between kindness and cruelty may define the essence of the test itself. Here is where empathy enters the picture. Yet, measuring empathy can be complex, often intertwined with suffering. It's simple to be kind when everything is secure, but what happens when you have something to lose? When helping someone else demands your time, resources, or even your safety, the stakes rise. Suffering presents those pivotal moments where the choice to help is not just optional, but comes at a cost. Do you step in to assist, or do you turn away? Do you convince yourself that it's not your duty? These choices reveal deep truths about who you are, perhaps more than any scientific measurement could. Interestingly, suffering has a unique ability to connect individuals who might never cross paths otherwise. A shared hardship can momentarily dissolve social barriers, allowing enemies to see each other as fellow humans, or uniting people from vastly different backgrounds. In those fleeting moments, suffering becomes a catalyst for cooperation, even if it's not the kind of unity anyone would choose. As you reflect on these thoughts, consider how you might respond in similar situations. What would you choose? Imagine you are in a world where observers are keenly searching for signs of unity amidst pressure. In these moments, certain events stand out. Yet, suffering does not inherently bring people together. Instead, it can just as easily create division, fostering resentment, mistrust, and selfishness. This dual aspect of suffering, its ability to unite or divide, makes it a compelling topic to explore. Consider this: the same experience that inspires generosity in one individual might ignite greed in another. It raises a critical question. It's not solely about who survives, but about how they survive and the person they evolve into during that journey. On a personal level, suffering compels you to make ongoing decisions about your perspective. Do you view yourself as a victim of circumstance, or do you see yourself as someone who can actively shape their response? Do you believe your pain carries meaning, or do you perceive it as chaotic and purposeless? These beliefs have the power to influence your decisions, sometimes for a lifetime. If life is a test, framing your own suffering may hold equal significance to the suffering itself. Furthermore, consider the possibility that suffering might extend beyond individual experiences. It could serve as a test for entire systems. A crisis often uncovers the strengths and weaknesses of governments, communities, and organizations. How swiftly do they respond? Do they prioritize those in dire need, or do they safeguard the interests of the powerful? Do they adapt their policies, or do they stubbornly cling to failing strategies? Observing these reactions can resemble stress tests in engineering, revealing much about resilience and adaptability. Reflect on these questions as you navigate your own experiences. What insights might emerge from your perspective? Consider the limits of the system, pushing it to reveal its breaking point. Many of us instinctively seek to avoid suffering. This desire could itself be part of a larger test. We create medicines, safety devices, and disaster prevention systems, all aimed at minimizing harm. This reflects a remarkable aspect of humanity, our ability to solve problems. Yet these solutions often come with their own set of challenges. Sometimes, the very measures we implement to prevent suffering inadvertently lead to new issues. From an outside perspective, observing how we navigate the balance between prevention and unintended consequences offers a fascinating layer of insight. Then, there's the deeper question of meaning. Some individuals manage to view their suffering through a lens of purpose, seeing it as a spiritual journey or a test of faith, contributing to something greater. Others perceive it as cruel and devoid of meaning, viewing it as a flaw in life's design. Both perspectives can significantly influence behavior. If observers are in search of diversity in responses, this realm presents a treasure trove of insights. The same experience of pain can inspire one person to become an activist, while another may retreat into isolation. Some might develop cynicism, and others may find a path to forgiveness. The most challenging aspect of suffering, especially if you consider it as part of a deliberate design, is coming to terms with the notion that it may not be intended to disappear. As you reflect on this, consider where you stand in this complex tapestry of human experience. Every generation strives to create a better world, and in many ways progress is evident. Fewer people live in extreme poverty, and more individuals survive diseases that once claimed lives. Access to knowledge and opportunities has increased for many, yet suffering never truly disappears, it merely transforms. Old threats give way to new ones, and while the specific challenges may change, the reality of hardship remains constant. Consider this: without adversity, how would we reveal the choices we make under pressure? Without experiencing loss, how can we truly measure the value of what we have? And without risk, how can we understand the lengths we will go to protect what matters most to us? While this perspective doesn't lessen the weight of suffering, it does lend significance to the struggles we endure, especially if we view our surroundings as intentional. Suffering, then, is not just an unfortunate aspect of life. It becomes one of its most enlightening features. It compels us to repeatedly define who we are and what we stand for. If life on Earth is a test, these decisions might represent the most crucial answers we ever provide, answers that continue to evolve even now. This leads us to ponder a different kind of question. What do you think lies at the heart of your choices? As you reflect on the ongoing tests of existence, consider what we are truly being measured against. It's not merely a question of morality, rooted in ancient traditions. Rather, it encompasses our survival, our ability to cooperate, and our long-term potential. Are we being evaluated as individuals, or is it our species that is under scrutiny? If it's the latter, what implications does that have for the future of this test? When you take a step back, looking beyond the scope of human history, suffering reveals itself in a different light. It transcends individual struggles and the trials of single civilizations. Instead, you see a recurring pattern, life rising and falling, disappearing and re-emerging in new forms. The Earth has witnessed more endings than you might realize, accompanied by just as many new beginnings. If you think of Earth as a grand experiment, these vast cycles may serve as the ultimate reset button, clearing the slate and allowing new possibilities to unfold. Often, we perceive extinction as a rare event, a catastrophic anomaly in the natural order. Yet, in the grand timeline of geology, extinction is far from uncommon. In fact, the majority of species that have ever existed are now extinct. The fossil record stands as a lengthy archive of life's experiments. Some ended abruptly, others gradually, each leaving behind traces but no living descendants. As you ponder these thoughts, what does it stir within you? Are you ready to continue this exploration, or perhaps take a moment to rest? From the tiniest microorganisms to the mightiest predators, extinction serves as a fundamental rule of nature. The reasons behind these losses are as diverse as the life forms themselves. Sometimes it's a slow climate shift or the gradual movement of continents. Other times it's a sudden event like a massive volcanic eruption or an asteroid impact. Regardless of the cause, the outcome remains the same. Entire branches of the tree of life are severed, creating space for new growth. Imagine the watchers observing this cycle. You can understand the allure of such events. An extinction event challenges adaptability on a grand scale. It compels the survivors to navigate an altered environment, seeking new ways to thrive and evolve into forms suited for their changed surroundings. Occasionally, these survivors are small, overlooked species that flourish in the absence of former giants. In other instances, entirely new lineages rise to prominence. From a scientific perspective, these moments present rich opportunities for study, showcasing how life reacts when the rules shift dramatically. One of the most well-known examples is the asteroid impact that marked the end of the dinosaurs. This moment in history illustrates the profound changes that can reshape life on Earth. Imagine a world where for tens of millions of years, a powerful rain dominated the landscape. Then, in the blink of an eye, that rain vanished. The remnants of this world, small mammals, birds, and reptiles, were left to navigate a landscape that had lost its former order. Some of these survivors adapted, while others did not. Ultimately, one lineage of those small mammals would lead to our own existence. If you consider Earth as a kind of test, it's fascinating to think how that sudden reset paved the way for our emergence. Yet, this was not the only reset in history. Long before the age of dinosaurs, there were other cataclysmic events. Take the Permian-Triassic extinction, often referred to as the Great Dying, which erased a vast majority of life in both oceans and on land, or the Ordovician-Silurian extinction, which devastated marine ecosystems. Each of these events served as a unique trial, wiping the slate clean and allowing new forms of life to flourish. These mass extinctions transformed the balance of our planet in ways that would have seemed unimaginable before they occurred. From a human viewpoint, these events feel incredibly distant, yet in the grand scheme of existence, they might represent intentional breaks, like clearing a desk before starting a new task. If there are observers watching, they may seek to understand not just how life adapts to gradual changes, but how it responds to sudden high-stakes transformations. In this context, extinction and renewal become powerful catalysts for evolution. Life often strips away the familiar, leaving you to navigate through uncertainty. It's not just about survival, it's about adaptation in the face of change. Throughout human history, you can see this pattern unfold. Civilizations rise, flourish, and eventually they fall, leaving behind only remnants and tales. Sometimes these civilizations collapse due to external pressures. Think invasions, plagues, or natural disasters. Other times they unravel from within, succumbing to political turmoil, economic strife, or environmental decline. In the aftermath of these collapses, new societies emerge, taking inspiration from what once was, but transforming it into something entirely new. The fall of the Roman Empire stands as a poignant reminder of both strength and vulnerability. Consider the decline of the Maya civilization or the fading of ancient Mesopotamian cities. The disintegration of the Khmer Empire in Southeast Asia also illustrates this truth. Each instance serves as a testament to the idea that no system is immune to transformation. What follows these upheavals is not merely a repetition of history, but rather a reinvention shaped by the lessons learned and the losses endured. In a way, these cycles mirror the mass extinction events found in nature, testing the resilience and adaptability of life itself. How do you think these lessons resonate in your own experiences? You observe how systems are tested, how survivors adapt, and how innovation emerges under pressure. These moments also open doors to entirely new ideas, technologies, and cultural frameworks. Think of it as the intellectual equivalent of new species filling an empty ecological niche. It's easy to view these cycles as failures, to see each collapse as a sign that those involved didn't succeed. However, another perspective invites you to consider them as part of a larger process. In many educational systems, failure is not the end, it's simply a step toward mastery. You take the test, identify where things went wrong, and try again. The collapse of a civilization may not represent a final judgment, but rather a means of clearing the field for new endeavors. If this is true, then renewal holds as much significance as extinction. The new systems that arise are not born in isolation. They are influenced by the memories of what preceded them. Even when knowledge fades, traces linger in architecture, artifacts, and oral traditions. These remnants can guide future generations, offering both warnings and inspiration. Renewal presents a unique opportunity to apply those lessons learned, allowing you to sidestep past mistakes or perhaps to make entirely new ones. The dynamic between extinction and renewal may be one of the most illuminating aspects of life on Earth. As you reflect on this interplay, consider how it resonates with your own experiences. Would you like to explore this concept further, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Imagine a world where stability feels comforting, yet too much of it can stifle growth. Conversely, constant change can disrupt our ability to create something enduring. It's this delicate balance that shapes our development, revealing a rhythm of existence. You may notice long periods of stability, occasionally interrupted by sudden upheavals, each one reshaping the landscape of possibilities ahead. What makes humanity unique is our capacity to recognize these patterns and theoretically prepare for them. By examining the past, you can identify risks and strive to prevent or soften the impact of future crises. This adds another layer to the challenge. If observers are watching, they might not just be curious about how we recover after a disaster. They may also be interested in whether we can foresee it and take action before it strikes. This skill requires foresight, collaboration, and the courage to act on incomplete information. So far, our track record has been mixed. We've managed to avert some disasters, adapted to others, and in many cases ignored warnings until it was too late. Climate change, nuclear proliferation, and ecosystem collapse are just a few of the pressing challenges that could test our ability to break this cycle. Consider this: can we choose renewal without first experiencing extinction? This question may hold immense significance as we navigate this current stage of our collective journey. Imagine a world where the cycles of life aren't just random occurrences, but rather they are meticulously timed. Picture yourself in a long-term experiment where resets happen at specific intervals, offering each new phase a fresh starting point. These triggers could stem from natural events, or perhaps they are orchestrated by unseen watchers in ways we cannot perceive. If this is the case, the challenge may extend beyond merely enduring change. It involves recognizing the patterns and learning to adapt proactively. Consider how extinction and renewal have influenced every aspect of life on our planet. These forces have cleared pathways for new opportunities, dismantled complacency, and rewarded those who can adapt. From the simplest single-celled organisms to the most intricate civilizations, everything that exists today owes its place to the failures of what once was. If Earth serves as a grand test, then these cycles pose the most profound questions we encounter, questions expressed not in words, but through the passage of time, the rise and fall of species, and the remnants left behind when one world concludes and another takes shape. The answers lie not solely in survival, but in what we create afterward, and whether our creations endure long enough to confront the next cycle. This leads us to ponder, if we have navigated these cycles countless times before, might there be hidden patterns woven into our own survival narrative? Have you ever paused to consider the patterns that might reveal what the test is guiding us toward? Perhaps you're curious about what passing really entails. If the cycles of extinction and renewal are intentional, crafted with precision, rather than left to chance, it raises a thought-provoking question. What if everything around you isn't merely part of a natural system, but instead part of something entirely artificial? Imagine for a moment that the world you inhabit, from the tiniest grain of sand to the vast expanse of galaxies, isn't as fundamentally real as you believe. This is where the simulation hypothesis comes into play. It's not just a fanciful notion from science fiction. It's a serious idea that philosophers, scientists, and technologists are beginning to explore. The concept is surprisingly straightforward. You might be living within a simulation created by an intelligence beyond our reality. This intelligence could be an advanced alien civilization, future humans with extraordinary computational abilities, or perhaps something that defies our current understanding. Within this simulation, everything feels authentic because it is designed that way. The laws of physics are consistent, history is rich and detailed, and your experiences are entirely convincing. As you reflect on this idea, what thoughts arise? What does it mean for your understanding of reality? Imagine stepping outside the boundaries of what you know, into a realm of reality that remains just out of reach. Some thinkers suggest that this realm might be more of a simulation than a genuine reality. Consider this. If any civilization advances to the point where they can create conscious beings and intricate environments, it's likely they wouldn't stop at just one simulation. They might run countless scenarios for research, entertainment, or reasons we can't even fathom. If this is true, the number of simulated worlds could far exceed the number of real ones. Statistically, this would mean that the chances of you existing in the original physical reality are incredibly slim. Reflecting on this idea can change how you view the cycles of extinction and renewal throughout Earth's history. In a simulation, these events could be carefully orchestrated. Imagine large-scale environmental resets initiated by code, designed to observe how inhabitants react to sudden changes. Each extinction event might serve as a reset switch within the simulation, clearing away certain elements and introducing new variables to test responses. From the designer's perspective, this approach would provide a controlled environment to study adaptability over extensive periods of simulated time. What do you think about the implications of this possibility? It opens up a world of questions and reflections. You might find yourself pondering the nature of existence itself. Would you like to continue exploring these thoughts, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Have you ever considered how the simulation hypothesis might shed light on some of the more peculiar aspects of our universe? Take, for instance, the astonishing precision of physical constants. The values of fundamental properties, like the strength of gravity or the mass of an electron, seem almost too perfect. If these values were even slightly different, life as we understand it might not exist. In a simulated reality, this precision wouldn't be a mere coincidence. It could be the result of choices made by programmers, much like a game designer establishes the rules of their virtual environment. This idea prompts intriguing questions about the boundaries of our reality. In the realm of computing, processing power is limited. As a result, simulations often optimize resources by only rendering what is necessary at any given moment. If our universe operates on a similar principle, there might be constraints on what is fully detailed in our experience. Perhaps the world beyond our immediate perception exists only as data, waiting to be activated when needed. Some physicists have even suggested that certain unexplained phenomena in quantum mechanics, such as the observer effect, might hint at a deeper computational framework. It's as if the universe only updates when it is observed. And then there's the intriguing question of glitches. What do these anomalies reveal about the nature of our reality? In the realm of technology, perfection is an illusion. Even the most sophisticated simulations can harbor subtle errors, moments when the environment behaves in unexpected ways. In your life, peculiar coincidences, seemingly impossible patterns, or sudden shifts in probability may appear as these glitches, brief glimpses of the underlying code peeking through. While many dismiss such occurrences as mere chance, within a simulation framework, they carry a deeper significance. If we consider the possibility that we exist within a simulation, The next question naturally arises: why? The motivations could be as diverse as the creators themselves. Perhaps an advanced alien civilization is observing the evolution of intelligent life under various conditions. Alternatively, it could be future humans running simulations of their own history, seeking to gain insights or test outcomes before making real-world decisions. There's also the intriguing notion that this simulation